Okay, 3.27 initial thoughts. And yeah. Guys, we're having a terrible league, guys. These patch notes are horrendous. It's so bad. If I press this, nothing, no but notch. Immutable, nothing. And Chieftain, that's it. So these are oh no, I'm so upset, guys. I'm I'm crying. I'm crying. Okay, but actually, I think it is. Yeah, it's really good. It's looking very good for Castle and Chieftain. So I have a few points here to go over. Firstly, no nerfs. Okay, but one big thing is Nebulous. So Nebulous has been changed, right? So can you read this? Here we go. Increase 10% damage per 1% fire, lightning or cold above 75. So basically how it works is between 75 and 90 is 15%. So 15% times 3 is 45 times 10 is 450% damage. Right, just damage. Now, if we look at my old POB, right, we'll do this one here. This is a Mage Blood endgame POB for reference, right? If I go to my thingy here, I'm gonna go back, don't save, new imports. We can see that I have well over 300% increased damage, right? Above cap. So that's uncapped 3000%. Obviously, capped at 450, but you know, that's a lot of damage we can get for free. So, in my opinion, that's very good. Very good. Now, there's something else about this too. We can also look at the fact that Chieftain, we only really care, right, about Hinakora and I guess Thessalia, right? So Hinakora and maybe Thessalia, which means we can probably ignore the rest. So Ramako is a minus 5 res, which we could get around with curses, because we currently don't use minus res curses, but we could. And then Banako Stormbrace is the modifier to maximum, applies to cold lightning. We could get around that by having, let's say, a what's it called again? The blue gem. My brain. A bit of a long day. Melding. Oh my god, my brain. Sorry. So you could save 4 points there. Now that means you can get a sub ascendancy, and judging from what we've seen, right? We see here that oops, spoiler. We currently. Oh, am I blind? So Bloodline Ascendancy. These ascendancies are like small sub ascendancies, right? But if you look carefully, this guy is Val Architect. Val Architect was in the Fresh Year League. So in Pee-wee Fresh Year, Val Architect. Can you guys see a familiarity here? This one has Everlasting Sacrifice and Shepherd Souls, and these are the Val Gem stuff and Val Gem stuff, right? If we look at the announcement here, these are very similar. That is pretty much a version of the Architect, as are these notes here. You know, Val skills, right? So I'm thinking there is a decent chance, right, that, well, what if we get Sanguine Power? Sanguine Power was on Bog Shaman, and it used to be on Wildwood Ascendancy. What's it called again? I forgot. Right. Um the warlock, right? Warlock. So this is an insane node if we can get it, because it gives you so much life. Now that means we can spare 4 points up to those nodes if it does come. Of course, it's speculation, but you know, it can happen. Now the next thing is uniques with Foulborn affixes. Hearthstone Chieftain currently uses at least 2 really shitty uniques that have really shitty stats. So we have the paint here. Oops. Valerium and Click of Flames, and it's sported to the left for Skyforth. So the minus cold res can be gone, right? Plus ES, we don't care. There's 2 mods here we can get rid of, don't care. Click of Flame, we can get rid of the Reflect here. This can become something better. So these are, you know, really easy and really free Woodborne uniques, because these are very, very, very common. Now, something that's a bit more rare is Skyforth. These are my boots, by the way. These are my boots. Skyforth has this mod here, which is no regen. So I'll show you real quick, in case you forgot. Right here. You have no life regen. That sucks. That's the downside that I put on the boots back in the days. Now, if you get rid of this, this means you can use Skyforth as the boot instead of Illyrium. So, bye-bye. Now you have Reservation, Movement Speed, and then the mod here for it, right? So now you get a Helical Ring instead. I think that could be the end game. Of course, we shall see, because apparently not every unique has Foulborns, and not every mod is applicable. We shall see. So those are the 3 things I've noticed the most for Chieftain. Now, people have asked also about the dagger. This dagger is right here. Zoom in. Here. So Festing Resentment is an Uber boss drop. I think most people, not most, but a lot of people have overglanced the fact that it says triggered spells, poison on hits, all damage with triggered spells can poison. This is a global modifier. Global. Guys, what is Custom Stunned? It is a triggered skill. It is a triggered spell. So, may I entertain you with my previous Miracle Pathfinder proof of concept from last league that I didn't get around to. YouTube, please. This is the same thing. Poison, Custom Stunned. Right. So the showcase is already here. And in the PUB, I'm using Consuming Darks, right? Consuming Darks is percentage conversion to chaos. So 2 of them is 60% conversion to chaos. So you can see this as a, let's say, a stepping stone from Consuming Darks to the new dagger, right? Festing Resentment for 100%, right? And then you move from this dagger later to Osin. Now you go a 3-way stepping stone as you put the build. And again, as some of you might have already known, what is wrong with Pathfinder? Well, Pathfinder sucks. The only nodes that's like important are the Wither node and the Poison Prolif, right? Nature Spoon. Cole can't see this. We can't see the feed. We don't really care. And the rest just useless, right? So that's already 4 points available that are free to spend on a subclass. Now, again, we'll go back to the fact that maybe we'll get Singing Power, maybe. And if we get Sanguine Power, I think it will revive my Void Valor character from 323. So in 323, it was Void Valor Pathfinder, I think. Right here. This, I still think, is the best Void Valor power of all time. Pretty much as close to a mortal as it gets. Right. This build had Sanguine Power from Warlock and Pathfinder Poison DD. Same thing. Same thing. Obviously, it's been nerfed since then by quite a lot, so it will never get back to the power it once was. But, I mean, there's potential here. There is potential. And I know in 3.24, that's Sakaiba made it work post nerf in Necropolis. So there is that. I'll show you a case over here as well. Oh, this music is copyrighted. Shit. Anyway. As you can see here. Damn near immortal, bro. Immortal. Okay, so this could be revived. So that's Pathfinder. And lastly, let's go over Assassin. So I've already been asked a lot already. Is Assassin viable? In my opinion, I genuinely think Assassin got worse. And that's not even like Hearts and Sun. That's in general. So Assassin has put all damage poison behind toxic delivery. But because we have poison here, we lost a node. The node that we lost was called Noxious Strikes. So Noxious Strikes and Toxic Delivery kind of got combined to one, right? So look here, Noxious Strike, Toxic Delivery, they kind of got combined. But there's one thing missing. Poison on hit. Poison on hit was actually really important to landing poisons on lots of builds, because without guaranteed poison chance, it's still really hard to get. And let's put it in a simplistic way. We can convert poison chance into, let's say per tattoo is times 5, right? 5% per tattoo. 8 tattoos. 8 tattoos is 80 intelligence. And 80 int is approximately around 2-ish suffixes. So you're going to lose a lot missing this. Not to mention that poison chance is very scarce. It is very scarce to get on in PoE. You got poison chance on the tree by 50%. You take all the nodes. You have Herald Agony, Reservation, 20%. You have Eldritch Gloves, up to 40% on Perfect implicits. But now you're starting to trade off stuff, right? You're trading off affixes and stats to get poison chance. And this was one of the benefits of Assassin. So that's a concern. The next concern I have is what happened to the rest of Assassin. It's bad. It's just generally bad. So these two nodes here, in my opinion, are just terrible. Like, if you go for full juggler, this means you get huge damage versus full HP. And when do you want full HP? When you clear mobs, right? But then all the loot in the game comes from tanky rares, uniques, and maybe bosses, right? So now you're paying a huge premium to lose damage against rares. And then you also have Knife in the Back, which is now crit chance on low life. If they're on low life, they're almost dead already. So it's like, the conditions here don't make much sense. But it gets worse. Opportunistic is now behind this node. Now you have to path through this to get opportunistic. May I remind you, opportunistic was here, right? These two nodes were separate. you could choose to get opportunistic without having to get the uh the uh the ambush assassinate node. It wasn't, it wasn't necessaritized. How do you say that? And then the other nodes, honestly, don't care. Right? Elusive, unreliable. Fierce recoup. Well, you need all recoup, right? And so those ones are meh. I don't really care. I don't really mind. Then we have these ones here. These ones here are I like the old ones, but again, you're paying a lot of points. So 4 points for Mystical Infusion, I think it's good. That's great. But would you ever spend 4 points for Death Marks? I think no. So unfortunately, I think Assassin is maybe on par with before, but just different. Is that okay? Is that good? I don't know. Up to you guys to judge. I'm sure it's gonna be some giga damage build. It's really good. But yeah. Now for cast and stuns, I think it is possible. But the problem is, right, if you don't do criticals with cast and stun poison, you're losing a lot. You're gonna lose so much damage by not going criticals. And if you want to go criticals, now you're investing into crit chance or something like that, right? So yeah, sure, that's kind of meh. If you then instead take the dagger, right? There's no point going assassin with this dagger because this dagger, it's like it overwrites the entire ascendancy. You get poison chance and poison crit. Sorry, poison with all damage. So what's the point, right? What's the point? So for cast and stun, assassin, looking not great, not great. Now we don't know about ultimatum because in 3.26 there were changes to ultimatum that were not in patch notes. So we don't know. We can hear the cry of the Fubgooners that mapping is dead or Scouts is dead, Risk is dead, But there wasn't anything about ultimatum, so technically it could be an indirect buff. And to finalize the summary, I guess, in 3.26, Chieftain RF was actually a lot weaker than other classes. Relatively, because guess what? We couldn't use mercenaries very well. That's because mercenaries add a month's HP, and that made it harder to get pops off without penance ring. So now that it's been equalized, we don't have a mercenary anymore, and we can have those hand thingies that gives you single target. It's looking very promising to be a cast and stun Chieftain League or cast and stun something this league, right? Cast and stun Soul Ren was looking really good last league as well, as were other variations of cast and stun, I'm sure. Firestorm as well, Firestorm of meteors, of pelting. Some people had blades, blade fall, blade blast as well. So yeah, guys, it's if there's a league to play cast and stun, this might be it. And it might even be the last time. I'm scared. I'm actually scared. Alright. The guide will be, of course, work in progress. I'm gonna put all my time and effort into perfecting the guide. Don't you worry. And I'll see you league start. Or I'll see you in the guide. Take care. Bye bye.